What is up, Ravens flock? Huge shout out for your support for the 410 Sports Talk. Chance and Glenn are the best in the business. They're killing it right now. They love talking Raven talk. Make sure you go subscribe to their channel. Let's go Ravens. Big trust.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. I'm James Haskell, along with my co-host Glenn Martin, and in the background, running the show, of course, as always, we got DK, and we're here to talk about something that, quite honestly, Glenn, I'm surprised has grown legs around here in as far as within the Baltimore Ravens fan base, and that is the feud that's going on with OBJ and the Cleveland Browns. It sounds like their separation is imminent, and people are wanting him to come here to Baltimore and speculating that he might be. In fact, Lamar Jackson even tweeted out to let people know he can't do anything about it. To kind of look, guys, you can at me all you want, but I can't do much about it. So we're going to get into it and discuss whether or not we'd like it, whether or not it's possible, all the above. So, but before we get into it, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, give us a like, hit that thumbs up, make sure you turn your notifications so you stay up to date for all Ravens news. Glenn, I'm going to start with you, my man. Where are you when it comes to OBJ and the Baltimore Ravens and this potential marriage born by Twitterverse?
Yes, yeah, and you're not wrong when you say that, because really it was Odell Beckham Sr. who really started all of this by posting, I think it was like a 9.5-minute video of just a compilation of times where Odell was open
and everything.
Yeah, it was insane where Odell, he showed literally every route where he was open and wasn't targeted by Baker, or when he was open and was targeted by Baker, but the throw was off the mark and didn't lead to a completion. It was a lot of research, was put into this video, and shocking. I mean, absolutely shocking to see that come out, especially with the fact that Baker's dealing with the injury, and it kind of felt, I don't know. It didn't feel like the timing. It certainly felt like they were trying to force his way out of Cleveland.
Yep.
And the Cleveland Browns, from all accounts, tried to make a trade happen, but couldn't find a partner to pick up the salary of Odell Beckham Jr. So that's kind of an interesting part of it too. But they finally did reach a settlement on Friday, which will result to him being placed on the waivers on Monday. So either way, no matter what happens, we're not seeing Odell Beckham Jr. for any team this week. That's just not possible by the way things kind of line up. He can be claimed Tuesday at 4 p.m. off waivers. However, if a team wants to claim him off waivers, they would inherit $7.2 million of his remaining salary on their books for the rest of the year. So if a team wants to avoid that $7.25 million cap hit for the rest of the year, they're going to have to wait until he clears waivers, in which case the Browns will be responsible for that $7.25 remaining in his salary, and a new team can sign him to whatever deal him and that team and his agent negotiate. So he can kind of double dip a little bit as far as, the way I'm reading this. So that's the big thing is right now, Jimmy, how many competitors, including the Ravens, have that kind of cap space?
Yeah.
Or
he's getting to waivers, I think.
He's got to get through them, right? I mean, there's no team right now, just so you know, right now, currently, there are 9 teams that have more than $7.25 million in cap space.
None of them are good, right?
It's the Jaguars, not good. The Eagles, garbage. The Broncos, garbage. The Seahawks, who right now are staying afloat after the Russell Wilson, and it looks like he might be coming back after he had the mallet finger. The Carolina Panthers have also more than 7. The Chargers, who already have a pretty they have a pretty star-studded receiving crew. The Steelers, the Washington football team, and the Cincinnati Bengals all have enough money right now to claim them off waivers. But there's still a litany of teams that are competing that don't have it, because what team that's competing has that kind of scratch laying around? Now, just to fill everyone in, the Ravens have $1.5 million in cap space, so they have no chance of claiming off waivers. The only way they could make a deal is if he takes a very low deal to come here to Baltimore, because he has some sort of he might look on the schedule and say, Jimbo, I got 2 games left with those suckers out in Cleveland, and I got some payback to give. Do you think that the draw of playing his former team still twice more in this season is enough to get him to want to come to Baltimore.
No. So one thing I just want to clarify is not because I know this, it's because DK is an endless wealth of knowledge. And so he did mention that the Browns are working out ways to pay some of that 7.2 so teams don't have to take the whole thing. I don't know logistically how that works, but that's certainly something that's being discussed. They're literally paying him to leave. Pretty crazy to think
play
about.
Against them.
Yeah. So I'll say this. If your question is whether or not he'll come to the Ravens, right?
Yeah.
Or will he even be motivated to want to play?
Will
for
he
the Ravens?
want to come to the
Right.
Ravens?
Yeah. No, he won't, because number one, this is the Baltimore Ravens may not look it right now, but we are a run-first offense principally. Maybe not the way that it looks, but from a principle standpoint, we are a run-first heavy offense. Yeah, right now we don't have the guys and things aren't working that way. That's number one. Number two, Lamar Jackson is awful cozy with his number one receiver, and that is Marquise Brown. And then behind that, we happen to, for the first time in the history of my life, not have a depth problem at wide receiver. We got plenty of them. So I don't think he looks at the Ravens and says, man, that's a team I want to go play for. I don't see it. So to answer your first question, no, I don't think he wants to play for the Baltimore Ravens. And I understand your point, but I don't think the draw is that enough to where he would be willing to take a minimal amount of money and play for the Baltimore Ravens. Do you think he will want to play here, Glenn?
I do not. I think what Odell Beckham needs to look at is what he had in New York. And I get that Eli Manning had a lot of criticisms. He had a lot of people who, said, he throws a lot of interceptions. Yeah, but you know what Eli was? He was a prototypical drop back, do your 3, 5, 7-step drop and get the ball out on time to your receiver. He doesn't have that right now in Baker. It doesn't seem, and I don't think he really has that if he were to come here in Baltimore.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd be happy in Baltimore. He needs to go to a team with a more, traditional 3-step, 5-step, 7-step drop. Boom, get it out. Timing type offense, and he can find that in a few places. I mean, I think the scariest place he could go would be like a team like Tampa Bay, who somehow continuously finds cap room. They're like the magician that just keeps pulling.
Well, it's anytime you got Tom Brady, all of a sudden you got cap room. There's a common denominator there.
I guess so, but I mean, those other guys got paid in the offseason too after winning the Super Bowl, and yet they still continuously find cap room. But there are teams out there that he could go to where they might be able to have a more traditional, drop back passing offensive scheme.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's say it here, Glenn. We don't think he wants to play for the Ravens. Now, the other question is, will he? Like, ultimately, will that marriage be made? I just want to, and I think you would say the same thing, I want to make it clear for all Ravens fans out there. I am not going to make an unprovoked bet like eating my microphone cover again because I'm now the father of a child. And I don't want to end up in the hospital. However, I will say very clearly and defiantly tonight that there is no way there's a better chance that Satan will start selling popsicles than Lamar Jackson.
Where did that come from?
Then Odell Beckham Jr. being a Baltimore Raven. It will not happen on a blizzard in hell.
Wow.
It won't happen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that Odell Beckham Sr. did his son any favors because, most teams would look at that and say, I don't really want the distraction. And when you don't have any, they obviously have no control over what Odell Sr. says. So you just don't want that added distraction. And I don't think the Ravens are going to want that. But most importantly, I don't think the Ravens would want him because they know they probably wouldn't be able to make the guy happy. Right now, he leads his team in targets right now. He leads the Cleveland Browns in targets by a pretty decent margin. He's got 6 more than the second place guy, and he's got 9 more than the third place guy. So he's the clear leader in targets on his team, and yet he's extremely unhappy. So I don't think that him coming here, where the Ravens, like you said, have a number one receiver in Marquise Brown, who is the best friend of the quarterback and will continue to be that, and will continue to get most of the targets. And then they have Mark Andrews, who is the best tight end in football this year. So he's going to continue to get the targets he gets. And then Bateman, being their first overall pick, is continuously becoming more and more a part of the offense. And they signed Sammy Watkins to be the veteran leader. They don't need to bring in a guy like Odell Beckham. Yeah. And honestly, to this point, like, do you start to question if he's still Odell Beckham? Or, like, was this all Baker because they're significantly better with Beckham off the field than they
Yeah.
are with him on the field. So is this the same Beckham that you're getting from 5 years ago?
I think that he has all the ability. I think that this year is kind of a wash with the ACL. I think next year we'll see what he is. But I think it's all here for him. You got to know that he still wants to play football, not be a fashion icon, not be a commercial guru, not be a jewelry designer / whatever. Like, he does so many other things that he seems to be passionate about. So you got to know, but I think the passion is there. Like, if you're asking me personally, I think he wants to play football. I think he loves football. And I think that more than anything, the dip we're seeing this year is you need a year, I think, to really get back with the ACL, especially at a position like that and the way he plays.
So what are you getting from him this year? Are you getting a lesser
right? I don't know
version?
what you're getting. So yeah, I do think you're getting like an 80% of what.
Because
you
here's
would.
what worries me, Jimbo, and this is the stat, because I remember when he was with the Giants, and do you remember, you may not, but when the Ravens played them and he was with the Giants, he took a slant and he took it 80 yards because he's so freaking explosive with the ball in his hands. Here's what has me worried about him this year. Right now, Jimbo, despite leading his team in targets, he has a total, Jimmy, of 48 yak yards on the season. His tight end, David Njoku, has 198. Jarvis Landry, who's only played in 4 games, has 103. Austin Hooper has 101. Kareem Hunt, 171.
How much of that do you think this has to do with like usage? Maybe they're not getting the ball early enough, or
well, he leads their team in targets, and yet he only 48 yards in yak. I mean, he is like he's like 8th on his or 9th on his team in yak. I mean, that's what worries, because he, to me, was just a yak machine. When you get him the ball, it doesn't matter where you got it. He's turning up, and he can make a slant into an 80-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
And when I look at him right now, having 48 total yak yards, that's just not the Odell Beckham I'm used to seeing. And so I wonder what teams are looking at him. Like, are they looking at him as the highlight reel that we're used to, or are they looking at him like, hey, he's just an okay receiver right now?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. And just an update, because DK is on top of it, reported by ESPN, the Browns weren't able to get OBJ to change his contract. So any team has to claim his 7.2. And so making it extremely unlikely that the Ravens would claim him if we had the chance to.
Any team. I mean, unlikely any team will claim him.
But certainly it wouldn't be the Ravens. I mean, that makes
it'd be impossible.
So let me ask you this, Glenn, and we'll end with this. Where's he going? I'll give you my prediction. I think he ends up north in Green Bay. I think he's been wanting to play with Aaron Rodgers for a long time. I think that's been in the news and been reported. I think he ends up getting through waivers and goes up to Green Bay to play with the immunized Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that would certainly swing the pendulum in the opposite direction for the Packers right now, who are getting killed right now in the media, and the perception is that
they might be the best wide receiver duo too, right? Like,
I mean, it would certainly, if you go by their name, they would be. I mean, now if you go by their game, I don't know what Odell you're getting. I think that's a great one right there. I think that was going to be my leader in the clubhouse is that guy. I think if you look around the league, who else makes a ton of sense? Again, Tampa would be scary. But do you really want, if you're Odell, do you really want to go there and play maybe 3rd or 4th fiddle behind the rest of the guys there?
Can I throw one more at you? What about Dallas? Just because.
I mean, he could. I mean, right now they look like the best team in football, but he's at least the 3rd fiddle there behind CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper, and then Gallup. Now, I think the Raiders right now are the most interesting team.
They just restructured a contract,
which could tell you they're looking to free up some space
any way they can, right? Like,
they just lost Henry Ruggs, and that horrifying situation that's going on there. A 22-year-old man has likely thrown his career away. But since the Gruden departure, they have been on the uprise. I mean, they've been just absolutely hitting on all cylinders. Derek Carr is playing unbelievable, and they just lose their stud receiver on the outside. So it certainly makes a lot of sense there. Now, do you want to bring Odell Beckham to Vegas? I guess there's some questions there.
Might be where he belongs. He's the ultimate showman.
Yeah, you could be right there. So, yeah, I guess if I had to have 2 leaders right now, it would be Green Bay and Oakland. I'm starting to lean towards Oakland because of the fact that they're more – Jesus Christ. I'm still doing that. Vegas, because they're the more desperate team as far as that. I mean, Alan Lazard's now off COVID. They still have, Randall Cobb. They still have Devontae Adams. They got guys.
He's got to look at Shoot, why am I blanking on his name? The tight end. Oh my gosh, he used to be a
Waller?
Raven. Waller's numbers, and be like, dude, I just want a piece of that, bro. Like,
Yeah, I
want a
just want
piece
to
of
eat
that
into a
action.
little bit of that pie.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. So there's some teams out there, but as far as the Ravens go, I would give this about a 1% chance of happening.
Yeah, and I'll give it a 0. No chance in hell, heaven, on earth. Nothing.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
let us know what you guys think. Do you want him? Were you hoping the Ravens had some more cap space to make it happen? Do you think he would want to come here and take on his former team 2 more times down the remaining stretch of the season?
Mhm.
Let us know all your thoughts on the Odell Beckham Jr. situation, and we will talk soon.